people have been saying that superhero movies are getting old, and the people who want to combat that say, well, superhero movies save the box office. And it's true in a lot of ways. They have supported the box office over this last decade. But there's also Pixar. We cannot forget what Pixar does for the box office, especially when they lean on their big boys, when they lean on that big IP, few bigger than Inside Out and Inside Out 2. 8 years ago, Inside Out came out and took over the world. Inside Out 2 dropped last week. David Thompson, box office correspondent. I'm going to read a number to you, and I want to hear your thoughts. $295 million opening weekend for the Inside Out sequel. Thoughts?
Unbelievable. Look, I didn't think that it was going to make the 85 to 90 it was projected for. That seemed low. That seemed like a bit of a hedge in terms of not understanding or not knowing really what the effect of this COVID, Disney Plus, Pixar thing truly was going to be. Because everyone out there who remembers 1 year ago, we were all losing our minds at the box office about The Flash and Pixar's Elemental. And Elemental was a movie that did not start off very hot. The complete antithesis of Inside. I did not even make that joke. I haven't even seen that movie. I guess that makes sense. The complete opposite of Inside Out, where it starts off slow. Everyone's like, oh no, Bob Chapek changed the way that we look at Pixar and Disney Plus, and we retrained families. And I think that two things can be true at the same time. That can be true. And it can also be true that way more people than just families, quote unquote, care about Inside Out. Because now this is one of those established brands for Disney and Pixar that seemingly now a couple generations really give a damn about. And I mean, oh my goodness, hitting 300 million basically globally in that total open is unbelievable. I pulled up some stats for you, some exciting stats, which are just, I mean, no one saw this coming. I think I personally saw it hitting 100 plus million, but I would have been like 100, 105 and been like, that's awesome. Congratulations, Inside Out. This is mind boggling. So it's the biggest opening for both domestic and worldwide of 2024 by a good margin, by the way. Like we thought Dune 2 did a great job. This almost doubled that at the domestic box office, which is crazy to think. This is even more impressive for me. It is the second biggest opening for an animated film, period. And the only one that's higher than it is its Pixar correspondent neighbor, Incredibles 2, which everyone was waiting for, 15 years for Incredibles 2? So Incredibles 2 domestically opened at $182.6 million, which is absurd for an animated movie. And then Inside Out 2, like we just talked about, hit 155 million, which is crazy. And by the way, comparing kind of like the years and what's happening and kind of trying to judge the box office, if you can remember, Barbie opened up to 162 million. So it's just below what Barbie did, which I think is really impressive in terms of the current perspective of like who goes to the theaters, when you go to the theaters. Inside Out 2, everyone's heading out to the theaters for. It's already crossing 300 million worldwide. I know I projected at the beginning of the year it was going to hit around 900 million worldwide, and I feel pretty confident about that sitting here today.
Yeah, and it's a big number, and it's good to see big numbers. It's going to help the overall box office for 2024, and I'm excited to see it. Didn't get the chance to catch it yet. It's one of those things. Like if you have a busy weekend, like I'll go to Thursday screenings for most movies I'm excited to see. But this is one of those ones where like I'm not going to go to Inside Out 2 alone, you know?
Yeah.
So like I'm going to wait for Aaron to be free as well, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I got to rewatch the first one. I've only seen it one time.
Yeah, me too, actually.
All the way through. I mean, what they did with the sequel, it's such a tee up and knock it out of the ballpark idea of, we have these 5 core emotions in the first one. Oh, puberty. You know what happens when you hit puberty? More emotions. And you know what happens? Those emotions fight each other. And that's why being a human is really hard.
Yeah.
And it's a very cool thing. I heard anxiety steals the show. Shout out Maya Hawke, Stranger Things. I think she's fantastic. I think she should be an X-Men.
Ooh, yeah.
It's very exciting stuff. Speaking of the X-Men, those mutant miracles that we love so much, Deadpool and Wolverine box office projections came out. First of all, a $40 million range at a box office projection, I feel like it's cheating just a little bit. That's a very large number to have the range for. But David Thompson, it's projecting 200 to 240 million opening weekend. Now, quick amendment, if I may. It was just announced today. It will release in China,
Yeah.
across the country of China on July 26th. So it's going to lose 2 days on that. But China is huge for the box office. China is huge for this number. China is huge for superhero movies, specifically 200, 240 opening weekend. Over under. Hit me with it. Let's call it 220. Over under.
Over under. And now this is the domestic total, right?
Is
I
that
believe
what that is?
I'm yeah. I'm it's definitely just domestic.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, no,
It's so much money.
it's really high. I was
It's
actually
high.
really surprised, but I think look, that's the thing. Like I say it's really high. It was Deadline came out with this line. The reason the range is so high is because it is a month and a week away ish, a month and 10 days. So that's kind of like the case scenario here. Wow. I mean, it is at 220, I would have to say over because at this, I mean, and honestly, I'm just saying over because of what Inside Out just did. I didn't realize a movie like Inside Out could do that right now. And
That's fair.
I think that Deadpool and Wolverine is a long time coming. It moved out of that May slot. It would have already been killing it right now if it was there. That since that trailer on the Super Bowl, I feel like it's been one of the highest anticipated movies of the year for many people. Will be up until this point. It's the only MCU movie of the year. I mean, X-Men are hot. Ryan Reynolds is awesome. People love the Deadpool series. The first two Deadpool movies have been really, really big winners at the box office. They're the two highest grossing X-Men movies ever. In like the Fox universe and everything. And people forget about that. People think it might be like Logan or Days of Future Past. No, it is Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. Those earned the most money. So putting these two together, I mean, talk about like a recipe for success. We just talked about that with Inside Out, like adding emotions. Make a Deadpool Wolverine movie. Bring back Hugh Jackman. You make money. So I'm hitting the over right now. Just to add some context, because I wanted to pull this up. If it were to go over, let's just say it hits 240. It hits the upper end of this projection, right? No Way Home opened to 260 million, which was absurd. Endgame opened to 357 million domestically, which is a joke and may never get topped again. Infinity, and it'll be in that Infinity War Avengers range where Infinity War was just under 260 and Avengers 2012, which for 2012 is remarkable, was over 200 $7 million at the opening box office. So yeah, I'm going over. And by the way, if you want to throw in the X-Men movies, the openings it'll blow them out of the water. And the highest openings, if you believe it, the highest openings for X-Men, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and X-Men, The Last Stand.
Go.
Pretty exciting. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm hitting the over. I'm buying into this thing. I've been bought into it making $1 billion. And I don't think there's gonna be any lost money because it's R-rated. I don't think that at all. I think this thing is gonna sell like gangbusters next month.